Eternal Chaos. A new overhaul mod introduced to Ark Survival Ascended, filled with multiple tiers of creatures to tame, creatures with different abilities, and a bunch of bosses we must defeat in this 100 days. I know nothing about this mod, and I'm going in completely blind. Holy sh**, what was that? So, let this adventure begin. Welcome to my 100 days in Ark's overhaul mod, Eternal Chaos. Welcome homies and homettes to another Ark modded adventure. We are playing on my favorite map, Ragnarok. And boy, are we in for a new adventure. All right. Standard start. Pick stuff up, pick stuff up. What you doing, buddy? First things first, we need to get ourselves some basic tools, like the pickaxe. Then smash some rocks for flint. Boom, boom, boom. So we can make ourselves a hatchet. And avoid that red dialer at all costs. Go away, go away, go away, go away. Once we had escaped that red dialer, it was then on to our next task. What we want to do is actually go to the blue obby and see if we can steal some tools. We're in Ragnarok. We're going to make the most of it, baby. Yes, one massive advantage of being on Ragnarok is we can find these little crates hidden along the beach here, break them, and get a whole bunch of stuff. We got a metal hatchet already. We got a sword. And we got ourselves a pike. Crossbow acquired. Bro, see, this is how you start on Ragnarok, baby. Yes, only a few minutes into the game, and we have metal tools and metal weapons. Ragnarok is goated. And I do enjoy a crossbow because we can do things like this. Gotcha, sucker. And even kill unsuspecting dilos. How much health you got? Oh, you're an alpha. Yeah, I didn't notice that this was a modded dilo. My bad. It's okay though, because we just used the good old water trick. Yeah, see, we just hide underneath the water. Where you go and dive under the water so they can't get you. This is some pro level arkage right here. I'm a pro Ark player. You don't want to come in the water because you're scared. Bang, baby. Bang, baby. Because we had just killed a couple alpha creatures, we then could make this, the alpha spear, which does work like a normal spear, but it does torpor damage as well. I wanted to stock up on some more arrows, so we kept smashing some of these containers because they give us arrows as well as all the other stuff. No point in making them if you can just get them for free. One alpha dead. And with a ton more arrows, we began killing some more creatures, where we managed to pick up this bag, which had an alpha trank arrow in it. We've made it to day 2, and we haven't died yet. So I think it's time for us to place down a little starter base. Something quite modest that we can use to get some crafting together. We had gathered enough resources to place down a forge so we could start cooking up some metal, and a mortar and pestle so we can create some narcotics to start taming some stuff. So far things are coming together quite nicely, which is rather strange for a modded playthrough. Usually I die a billion times by now, or I die by some weird dumb way. Ah, shoot, I ran out of stamina swimming. It's like the worst possible thing that can happen. Bro, as if we're gonna die to stamina. Oh my lord. Wait, is that a little ledge that we can kind of pop up on? Get some oxygen. Oh my god, I'm gonna drown because of stamina. I'm gonna drown because we ran out of stamina. I'm not drowning. Bro, my head's above the water. Come on, bro. My head's above the water, dude. My head's above the water. I'm not. My head's above the water. Look! I'm fully drowning in like a foot of water. Not the ideal place to drown. Yeah, so that happened. I kind of would have preferred to die by a raptor or something. That was a very uncool way to die. But we push on. Well, kinda. We have to respawn and get our stuff back. This time making the swim with plenty of stamina in our reserves. After we collected our stuff, we pushed further on into this cave so we can collect this juicy metal. Enough to fill up our pockets. Even though technically we don't have any right now. Where the hell he's holding all of that metal, I don't know. And I kinda don't think I want to know. Day 3, we start cooking up all of the metal that we gathered and enjoy the morning sunrise. But then there was a thief nearby and I needed to sort him out real quick before he stole all of my loot. Yeah, these pesky pegamastics. We had then leveled up a little bit, so it was time to unlock some more engrams, especially a bunch of these modded engrams. I then went ahead and split up all of our raw meat so we could then get it spoiled so we could start making some narcotics. But first, before we tame a creature, we need to kill a creature. Specifically this alpha creature so we can get its blood and hide. Oh, what's that? Alpha augment, shoulder pin augment. Oh, okay, that's cool. And because it's slow and kind of stupid, I took out an apex lystro as well. Day 4, I crafted up this Eternal Chaos Forge. Apparently it's like a normal forge, but better. But it's what we need to make some of these modded metals as well. We're slowly but surely moving up in this world. But when I checked to see if I could make some of these modded kibble, well, I can't. But I can make some of the modded narcotics, and then some of these modded trank arrows. And whilst I'm at it, I might as well make some of these modded metal tools as well. With all of our equipment now freshly crafted, I need to go and find ourselves a trilobite. Yeah, no, we're not taming something right now. Trilobites are just easy kill things that I can get some chitin from. And I need a bunch of chitin so I can make the saddle that I require to be able to ride the tame that we want. We also needed to level up a little bit so I can get these super cryo storage collection balls. But before I can make those balls, well, I need some crystal. Thankfully, I've played this map quite a bit, and I know where to get a little bit of crystal in a very easy spot. This strange looking ruin, well, you break down a couple of these rocks, we break that, and there's a tiny bit of crystal behind it. We don't need much, we just need enough to be able to make a single ball. Now I can craft up some of these balls, and began looking for our very first tame. A pteranodon. Always a very good play early on. Go down, go down, go down, go down. All right, okay. Not the most ideal place for it to be knocked out, but we're gonna make it work. Now to just wait for it to fully tame up. I just put it away in one of our Pokeballs, returned back to base where I'd already made up a PT saddle and left it in one of our tables, placed it on the back of our PT, and hit the skies. Now we can do some more exploring, but most importantly, we need to find our forever base location. But as we're flying around, we heard this. What the f is that? A Reaper with explosive capabilities? Well, that's gonna make finding a forever base even harder now. We don't know where they can spawn. Day 6, we returned back to our starter base and then inspected our map to see if we could think of a place that we could possibly build. Where to build, where to build, where to build? Down here could be good. No. Ugly. Oh no. The decision is certainly not easy. There's so many good places, but for the moment, let's enjoy the sunset. Like, bro. That's so sick. Because I'm super unfamiliar with this mod, I'm unsure exactly where I should build. Like, what happens if I build next to something that can explode my base like this? I have no idea what creatures have certain abilities and, well, basically what to expect. And it really seems like nowhere is safe. Oh my lord, what the heck? But we do continue our hunt, looking for our forever base location. It's already day 7 and we've been looking for a place to live for a long time. And I think I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet. I've decided to live up here. This is a big mountain peak right near Viking Bay. Let's have a look, see. What can we work with here? And there's a random spot of water right here. It's large, open and flat, and so far there's only herbivores that are up here. Couple bugs, but we can deal with them easily. There was a Kano, but it was fighting the Stego, and the Stego was winning. Anyways, I guess we're just gonna have to see how this goes. We start by collecting a bunch of resources, then begin placing down the footprint of a base. I only want to get enough foundations down so I can place down this storage box to place all of my resources and stuff into it, and this bunk bed that we found in a drop earlier. Day 8, we gather even more resources so we can shove them into our large storage box. Then begin crafting a whole bunch of foundations. We're gonna need a lot for the base we're going to design. So let's go and do exactly that. Start building out this base. Oh, what the frick? Well, that was kind of unexpected. Note to self, stay away from the red trikes. They don't like me. They're probably racist. Anyways, let's finish off placing down all of our foundations so we can take a good look. And here we have it. All of our foundations are down. Now let's take a look to see if I built it correctly. Oh yeah, I think that looks good. Day 9, we return back to our starter base to pick up some of our crafting benches. There's no point wasting resources crafting more if we can just pick them up from here. Only problem is our PT is weaker than Mr. Burns and can't pick any of this up. I don't need all of these resources that I have on me right now. We can make do without them. Manage to get this stuff back to our base, and then we head out to try and tame our first creature, and hopefully not get exploded along the way. Our very first tame, well yes, it has to be a dodo. A dodo gang, represent. I want to try and get a breeding pair of these so they can start producing some eggs, so we can eventually start making some modded kibble. Lucky for us, these dodos are tiny, so we can carry one in one hand and pick the other one up without PT. Now to leave these guys chilling here to make some generous love, which is kind of unsettling since we don't have any walls up on our base. I then got into a fight with a Kano, which I was feeling kind of confident that would defeat. Unfortunately, these trikes wanted to join in the fun and they started chasing me down. No, don't fight me! But I had a way to escape. Call me Mr. Mission Impossible. Typically, they're supposed to follow us and jump over the cliff. Yeah, that did not happen. Oh, here they come! What's up? Uh-oh. You're in a really awkward position. He's just chilling on our head. Aha, stupid. And that's how it's done. But then as we return back to our base, the Kano was fighting this trike right next to our dodos. This was not a great place to be, so I gave the trike a little bit of assistance and we both killed this Kano. But since this trike was almost also dead, well, I started to kill it as well. When it came close, I just hid in the water. Their mechanics don't let them follow you into the water properly. It's great. I didn't end up killing it. I wanted to go check on my dodos real quick. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna need to put some walls up. You're looking pretty beat up there, lady. After that little occurrence, it was time to put up some walls, especially now that we have some tame dinos just out and about. Day 10, I took a quick break from building our base and went to go collect some cementing paste. There's a ton of giant beaver dams right near our base, so I might as well start collecting it while I can, assuming I don't make silly mistakes like this. Oh crap. No, I dropped the freaking cementing paste. Look, I panicked, all right? There was a lot of beavers coming after me, and it's fine. There's plenty of other beaver dams around. We're not super desperate on cementing paste right now, so I just grabbed a little bit. Next, I built a fabricator, moving up in the world, and cooked up a whole bunch of metal. I think we're going to need a lot since there's modded metal in this mod. I do know that we're going to need a bit of polymer eventually, so I crafted up this modded sickle and began making our way to the polymer cave. Yes, if you didn't know, there's a cave on Ragnarok that you can farm some plants to get a bunch of polymer. This is the cave that I used as a base location in one of my docks playthroughs, and these are the plants that you can harvest to get polymer. Like a whole bunch of it. So much of it, in fact, our PT couldn't fly. So we had to get rid of some. It's okay. We can always just come back and get more later. But with that polymer gathered, we can now craft this. The SCS Terminal. A place where we can store all of our dinos, like our dodos, and they can start passively producing some dodo eggs. Day 11, to make our life a little bit easier, I crafted up the upgrade bench. Then went ahead and upgraded the crossbow that we got from the beaches. We got it to the Ascendant level, but it's not fully maxed out. I don't have enough resources for that right now. But the question is it strong enough to take out some of the creatures? Even this stego with its damage resistance, well, it took a lot of damage. And as long as I could outrun its slow ass, I could kill it and harvest it for its meat. We want to get a whole bunch of meat so we can spoil it and make some narcotics. And so we could use our time effectively, I went ahead and crafted up some more building pieces whilst we waited for our meat to spoil. This base isn't quite complete just yet. It's a work in progress, but we'll get there. I wanted to add a different type of roof design, not just leave it flat. That's why we put these sloped roofs in. But once we completed this side, it made it really dark inside. The other side, I have different plans for it, so we didn't want to do that roof just yet. The next day, we went out to go hunt some easy alpha dinos. And by easy, I mean like dilos and stuff. I need to collect a whole bunch of blood and a whole bunch of hide. The blood is for some kibble and the hide is for a saddle that we're gonna need eventually. Tried killing this parasaur as well. Turns out they're aggressive when you try and fight them. I did expect it to run away, but it wanted to fight. Unfortunately for it, it doesn't like to dive deep in the ocean. So killing it was rather simple. You know what? I'll never get used to getting bombed on by the random dinosaurs. Freaks me out every single time, especially since it's so close to our base. Oh. And look at that, 2 Mystic Rexes right next to our base. This is literally the worst case scenario. I sure hope they don't have special attacks. With dangerous Rexes spawning around our base, I'm gonna have to place down a bunch of foundations to hopefully block some spawns. I don't really know how else I can defend my base. I also can't see the Rexes near my base right now, which is kind of worrying. For some added protection, I placed down some behemoth gates around our base. Not only should this keep some of the bigger dinos out, but it should also block some spawns as well. But as I was peacefully minding my own business, well, we discovered where that Rex was from earlier. And this is exactly why I built on the side of a cliff. Barely survived that one. Its friend was also here, but it was kind of stuck in the gate, so I guess we're kind of safe for now. Anyways, next mission of the day is to find ourselves an alpha pteranodon. Our current pteranodon is good and all, but we just want to upgrade. This particular one is getting chased around by a scary black and red raptor, and I think I'm just going to let them do their thing. After all, there's plenty more pteranodons in the sky. I think that's the saying anyway. Now, this one that we found wouldn't land and kept staying up really high in the sky, but I want it. So I tried a good old taming method of mine. Hit it with a grapple hook, climb up to it, and from here, I could shoot it. Unfortunately, it didn't knock it out immediately, and it started chasing me. I think it wants me dead. Tried to get another shot off, and that didn't really work out too well. Yeah, somehow my grapple hook disengaged, and we fell to our death. The next issue I ran into was, well, we now can't get our stuff back. That's perfectly fine though. This is modded Ark, so we have a way. Since I'm using the Cyberstructures mod, they have a CS gravestone, and with this, we should be able to get our stuff back. Psych, it's not working at all. So we just have to go into a deep pit of depression, and that should get us to where we need to go. All I need to do is just spawn as close as possible to where we died. Although it is a little bit of a hike back to that location, and filled with a few dangers. Oh, you're kidding me. Run, run, run. Oh, I wasn't talking about the raptors. I was talking about sheer cliffs that we jump off of. We almost died. Anyways, we got our stuff back. Fell down another cliff, and our PT was ready to be tamed. We had made kibble earlier, so we're good to go. Only thing we did not make was a saddle. Good thing we had our original PT in our pocket, so getting back to base wasn't too much of an issue. Although there were strange sounds happening. Oh, that's likely whatever it was. I don't even want to find out what that was. Anyways, once we got back to base, I crafted up a PT saddle for our Alpha Pteranodon. I also named it. Because it's red and kind of chaotic, we named it Brittany. Day 14, I climbed on the back of Brittany to go and collect some silica pearls, hopefully avoiding whatever the heck that is. Now, because I've played Ragnarok before, I know the perfect place to get me some silica pearls. Right below this rock right here. There's a little cave system right next to this sunken ship that's full of these silica pearls. I'm glad they changed the textures on them. I hated it when you couldn't see them glow. It was really hard to see them. Now they're just everywhere, littered along the ocean floor. And because silica pearls are quite light, I wanted to collect a whole bunch of them so we don't have to come back here too often. Now that I have more silica pearls than your mum's necklace, it's time to head back to base. I need to make a bunch of electronics, which I'm gonna need a bunch of metal for, and we don't have enough metal cooking currently. So to double our efficiency, we put down 2 of these refining forges. Again, I like to try and keep myself busy while we're waiting for stuff to craft. So I went ahead and started playing around with different skins for our buildings. This castle skin is pretty neat, and it brightens the place up a little bit. And if you adjust the door to this gate, well, it lets some more light in as well. Anyway, some time has passed, so we can now craft up this, the electric generator. And with that, I could place down some lights to brighten up our base a little bit. I tried out this new light from Lost Colony, but it kind of doesn't suit our aesthetics. So I just switched out to the good old faithful normal lights. I then placed down an awesome teleporter so we can come back to base at any point. This map is rather big, so we're going to need it. And as I went out to do some exploration, I spotted an Alpha PT nearby, a male one, which will be a perfect partner for our Brittany. I want to start breeding up some PTs so we don't run out of them because they're likely going to die with all the explosions happening around us. It was day 15 when we started breeding up these PTs together. You two get busy, babies. And then I wanted to experiment with some other skins on our base. This is an oldie and a goodie. I did it in a different playthrough. I really like this gate design because
it's like I can see outside real clear.
It could be a hard decision finalizing exactly what I want it to look like, but I think at the end of the day, I really like this castle skin. It's something different, we've never used it before, so let's go with that. And this way, we've got something to do while we wait for our PTs to breed up. Once I'd finally finished painting all of our base, I decided I finally wanted to place a roof on the other side. And I wanted to make it a greenhouse roof, but I didn't have enough resources currently to fill it in. I was missing a bunch of crystal and some cementing paste. So I came over to a place where I was confident that there was a bunch of crystal and collected a whole bunch until our pockets were full, or until I was viciously murdered by some bugs.
I don't remember getting torped.
Bullshit. After horrifically getting murdered by some bugs, we returned back to base so we could finish off this roof, completing the edges of the roof out of a normal roof and then filling it in with the greenhouse glass. But I didn't craft enough ceilings. I needed more crystal. Unfortunately, we couldn't gather more before because we died. But there's another peaceful cave that I know that we can find some crystal. Well, it's somewhat peaceful, up in the snow biome. As long as we dodge all of the scary bears and some wolves, we should be fine.
Oh no.
Crap. Look, we did manage to get some crystals, so I guess that's kind of a win. Hopefully it's enough for us to make these ceilings. But before I could finish off these ceilings, I heard a noise outside my door. This is Nugs, one of the homies playing on the server. He wanted to come and show me some of the dinos that he had tamed.
A Mystic PT, a little bit banged up. Eclipse Reaper.
We're going to be aiming to get some of these ourselves eventually, and I think in order to do so, we're going to need something a little bit better than the crossbow that we have. It's probably time to start upgrading to the long neck rifle and the trank darts. By now, all of our ceilings have finished crafting, so we can finish off this roof, finally. And in order for us to make some of the higher end kibbles, we're going to need some vegetables eventually. So I figured it's probably a good time to set up some water so we can start making some crops. And by the end of this day, one of our baby PTs had fully grown up. We'd been riding one of our original PTs this whole time.
Yeah, baby.
And then when I'd have a peek at our base, it's coming together quite nicely. Day 17 and we're cooking up some kibble so we can go and tame ourselves a beast. Exactly what beast are we taming, you might ask? Well, it's simple. A good old Alpha Rex. Lucky for us, they fell inside the Grand Canyon. Unlucky for us, they can climb up walls. How the frick did you get up here? We managed to get ourselves away from the bite of evil and found a higher peak where they definitely couldn't climb. But because my aim is terrible, I had to get a little bit closer. I was missing more shots than I did with my high school crush. I ended up managing to Spider-Man my way onto the edge of this cliff and just began shooting them. Now, even though they were trapped in this canyon right here, they eventually ran away.
so I had to get my meaty butt down there so they could get attracted to it. This Alpha Rex definitely came back, wanted a chunk out of my juicy bumhole, and I kept moving around to try and get the best angles to take this thing down. At one stage, it got its head buried in the side of the cliff, so I took this as a chance to knock it out. Day 18, I was looking through my teleporter, and that's when I saw a random name pop up. So of course, I wanted to go check this place out. Someone put their base on public by the looks of it. And this is one of my moderators' base. This is Flurry. He's just having a nice little sleep on the ground. Not gonna lie, this is a pretty nice cave. I don't know exactly where it is, but there's crystal, and I'm gonna take it. Now that we have successfully tamed a Rex, we need to get a saddle for it. But we don't have quite enough alpha steel ingots currently. We do have enough blood to make that many ingots, but then we need to cook up some more. With that being said, we went out to go and harvest a bunch more. We have alpha tools currently, so we do get a multiplier effect on all the stuff that we harvest, but we're just out here searching around to try and find as much metal as possible. And that's when we enter this cave and find the mother load of them. Little bits of obsidian here as well, which we'll keep in mind for later if we ever need it. Once we were fully encumbered, we went back to base and we still couldn't move around. I put some metal in my PT for the moment so we could fill up our forges. Side note, I made a trough so our animals could eat. After a little while, we were able to make the Rex saddle. Now having a pure-blooded killer like this should level up our game. And yes, it does. Doing 1,000 damage per bite means we can take out a lot of creatures and collect a lot of blood, which we need to be able to progress further. Day 19, and we should probably start working on this long neck that we crafted earlier. I kind of forgot about it. It happens. The Rex was really exciting. Upgrading it's probably going to be a good start, which is when I realized we're going to need a lot of metal, not just for all the modded metals, but if we're going to be upgrading a lot of our equipment, well, we just need more. And these are kind of slow, so we crafted up more. We're also going to need a bunch more narcotics. And the best thing to help us get some more narcotics is a berry gatherer, so we can get some more narco berries. This alpha trike that we tamed, well, we named it Betty. Say hello to Betty, chat. And our girl Betty is a great berry gatherer. We spent a rather long time out here gathering berries, managed to get our hands on 2,500 of them. And with all of them, we began crafting up a whole bunch of narcotics. Unfortunately, our next bottleneck was spoiled meat, but that's something we're going to have to worry about a little bit later, because for now, we should be okay. We're now able to make a bunch of apex narcotics, thanks to our Alpha Rex's murderous rampage. Whilst I was waiting for it to craft though, of course we needed something else to do, so I split up a bunch of raw meat that was ready to spoil, and waited for that to spoil so we had some more raw meat to make some more narcotics. The life cycle goes on. Now that we've gotten our hands on a bunch of perishable items, I need a refrigerator to keep them from going rotten. It's now day 21, and we're old enough to drink in the United States. But no, we're responsible. Instead, we're gonna go pick up a creature that likes to eat poop. Pretty sure there's an old video about that. 2 girls and 1 something, I don't know. Back at base, I had a nosy neighbor encroaching in my space. And you know what we like to do to nosy neighbors? We eat them. I don't know what's socially acceptable these days. It's confusing. Kind of crazy how that big Bronto can just fit in this tiny little trough right here. Magic of video games, I guess. Oh, by the way, we put down some crop plots. Now we just need to put some fertilizer in them. We don't have a lot, but we just need these citronal seeds to start cranking out. We don't really need anything else right now, but we'll work on it once we eventually get some more fertilizer. After having a pesky peeping Tom come through into my base, I needed to block this place off even more. Now, I know it's not super exciting, but all of this stuff that we're doing right now is super important to progress through this mod. We've been grinding out resources, getting our base ready so we can really start hitting the ground and taming some of these tougher creatures. And I don't know why, but I just don't feel satisfied until our base is fully complete. It all needs to look aesthetically pleasing before we move on. Our Alpha Triker produced a few little eggs for us, so we're then able to make some Apex Kibble and some of the stronger Apex Tranquilizer darts. Now, the very first thing that we wanted to go and tame was an Apex Dodo, so we could start producing some eggs so that we could then eventually start taming the next tier of creature. But it was funny to find out that you could ride these dodos. It's always a silly sight riding around on these overgrown prehistoric chickens. Not sure if you guys are sick of this yet, but we're working on the base again. I'm waiting for our dodo to produce some eggs. And look, we're almost finished on this base. Once it's done, we could then move on. So day 24, our focus was to finish this base. Complete the roof of the long shaft, which we did find a couple difficulties when we're trying to work on the tip, but with a little bit of creativity, we managed to get it done. Then we could make the entire base match by putting the correct skins on it, and then with a bit of editing magic, we were done. Our base was now complete. I need you guys to drop a comment on what we should name this. In our previous playthroughs, we've named it the phallus, the shaft, the rocket ship, whatever you think would suit. Let me know. It's now day 25 and we need to start working up the tiers of all the creatures in this game so we can eventually start fighting some bosses and do all the things you need to do in this mod. And with that, we wanted to test our might against this Mystic Rex, which is 2 tiers above our current Alpha Rex, but if we can start hitting it from the right angle, it won't attack us and we can start biting away at it. I was scared, yes, but I was surprised that we're doing quite a bit of damage. Maybe because it was slow or too busy roaring because it's stupid. It should be biting. Once we finally managed to kill it, which I was surprised we actually did, we managed to get our hands on some mystic blood and some mystic hide. With that, I felt confident enough to go out and kill more mystic creatures. PTs are a little bit more difficult since they flew around in circles like this and they were kind of hard to hit, but ultimately they didn't have a lot of health, so taking them down was a little quicker. I saw that in the later tiers, we're going to need ourselves some jerky. So I figured it might be a good idea to start working on that jerky now since it takes a long time to craft, which is why we made a couple of these preserving bins so that we could begin the process of making the jerky. Day 26 and our poop beetle has been working overtime creating our fertilizer. And now we have all 4 types of crops growing, we should be okay in the future. Next, it's time for us to start working on trying to get ourselves a mystic tier dino. The yellow tier, which means we're going to need a whole bunch of narcotics. They have a lot more torpor than all the previous tiers. We had also leveled up quite a bit, so it's time to unlock some more of these higher tier engrams. Not sure exactly what I'm going to need, but hey, I'm definitely going to need this mystic tranquilizer dart. Prepared and ready to go, our first tame, of course, has to be a dodo. Just makes sense, since we're going to need their eggs to be able to progress even further. I had some tranks left over and some kibble, so why not try and get our hands on a mystic PT as well? I feel like we kind of skipped over the apex tier, but it was kind of easy to get through since our Alpha Rex was so strong. We only have one of these, so hopefully it doesn't die. Maybe we'll eventually get a partner for it, but for now, I wanted to go test it out because Mystic Dinos do have special abilities. You can power them up so they're faster, but they do drain stamina rather quickly. But then as I was looking on the map, I saw that there was a level 130 Mystic Rex on the map as well. And I needed to take this opportunity to try and tame it. At the time of recording this video, Mystic Dinos didn't really spawn a lot, and when they did, they weren't really at a high level. And to make it worse, I was playing on a server with a bunch of other people that were also hunting down Mystic Dinos at the same time. So I needed to claim one quickly. Of course, I got disturbed by a stupid raptor, so I'm gonna have to deal with that quickly, which is turning out to be kind of tricky. I was stuck on it and couldn't move, and my Rex couldn't get a single bite in. I tried to teleport away before I got eaten by this Mystic Rex as well. This was not turning out to be a great time. But then I got bumped out of the teleportation sphere. I only had one choice. I had to run for the ocean. I ran away in fear for so long that I didn't even realize that the Mystic Rex got distracted and didn't even want my juicy butt anymore. This Rex has a lot of torpor that we need to drain, and we don't have a lot of tranks on us currently. I managed to deal a little bit of torpor, but the math wasn't mathing. I don't think I had enough arrows or enough darts to be able to knock this thing out. And to make some more of these darts, well, I need some more Mystic Steel ingots, which I don't currently have a lot of. Now, we were able to make a little bit, but we also need the blood for the narcotics as well. This is going to be quite the predicament. Apparently, so we got the Mystic Trank darts right now, and apparently they're going to be better against Mystic creatures. We'll soon find out. Or we'll die. And yes, the Mystic darts were better, but they didn't do too well protecting us against this. Oh my god. Ouch! I had to rethink my plan, and I think the best strategy for us to move forward is to be able to get some more Mystic Blood so we can make some more Mystic Tranks so that we actually have enough to be able to tame this Rex. So the hunt for Mystic creatures now begins. I don't know how much I'm gonna need, but I'm gonna just try and get as much as I can. I figured some of the larger Mystic creatures would give us the most amount of blood. That's why I hunted down rhinos and stuff. Day 28, my focus was clear. I wanted to make sure I had enough tranks to be able to knock out any Mystic Rex we encounter, which requires me to farm a bunch of wood so we can keep cooking up the metals and making a bit of charcoal for some gunpowder, and then just patiently wait for it to all craft up. It's now day 29, and before going out to get that Mystic Rex, I wanted to gear up on some armor. You never know what kind of dangers we might encounter. I truly believe in Ark, the best way to be able to succeed is to be better prepared. Now that we could return with quite a few trank arrows and a couple of trank darts, in theory we should be able to knock out this Mystic Rex and tame it. Had some close encounters though. I can't afford to get bitten by it. I'm surely gonna die in one shot. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Wait. But in the end, we put this bad boy to sleep, shoved some Mystic kibble down its throat, and it is now our best friend. Once we returned back to base, I ran into our next issue. We didn't quite have enough resources to make one of the Mystic Rex saddles. We spent everything we had earlier on making some narcotics and some trank darts. So it's back out to the wilds once again to hunt down Mystic creatures for their blood and hide. Day 30, we returned back to base, placed the blood inside of the Eternal Chaos Forge, and let the Mystic Steel ingots start crafting. Whilst we wait for the metal to craft, I might as well start spoiling some of this meat. Then after waiting patiently for a while, we were able to make this Mystic Rex saddle. Now the question remains, how much stronger is this Rex compared to the Alpha Rex that we've been on? We technically skipped a tier because we didn't really tame any Apex creatures, just an Apex Dodo for the eggs, but now we have a Mystic Rex. I'm not going to go in that direction, we're just going to try and take on something a little bit weaker. like the strike. And we're doing 2,400 damage. Yeah, this is a step up. It doesn't even have any levels in it yet. So we're going to keep munching on all the wildlife until we get enough levels to be even stronger than we currently are. Day 31, and I was getting quite carried away riding around on my Mystic Rex, living my dark fantasies as a serial killer and a vast adventurer, scaling through Ragnarok trying to find anything to murder. But I could tell my Mystic Rex was getting lonely, so I tried to find a mate for it. Something with decent stats so it could benefit us as well. Unfortunately, at this very moment in time, there wasn't anything decent on the map. Everything else had been claimed. So it's probably a good time to go out and hunt down some hide and blood anyway, so we can stock up on it for future use. But you know, sometimes I don't really pay too much attention and forget that you get really cold in this place, and they call it the murder snow for this exact reason right here. Yeah, that's going to be quite the issue. I do not want to lose our Mystic Rex. It's lonely out in the snow at night in the dark. And to hopefully ensure that we don't die once again, I crafted up some snow gear. The new set from the Lost Colony DLC. Looks a little bit snazzy if I don't say so myself. I look depressed. But our snow gear wasn't working too well. Like, it was better, but it wasn't completely better. So once we got our Rex back, we teleported to a different location. The Green Obelisk teleportation zone seems like a great place to be able to farm some dinos. Well, that is, unless you get chased down by something rather strong. Oh crap, this is not good. This is not good. I didn't know Akacho was going to attack me. Oh crap, can we just get him to fight the Bronto? Fight the Bronto, not me. Fight the Bronto, Bronto. Oh no, we're so dead. No! Yeah, that completely sucks. We just lost our only Mystic Rex. Now, even though we got our stuff back, I really wanted to try and get my Mystic Rex's saddle back. Ideally, without losing our only Mystic PT. So it's probably a good idea to put this bad boy away. I saw a bag on the ground, so I raced over to try and pick it up. Unfortunately, it was the wrong one, and we died. And because we had just died recently, well, we're gonna have to wait for the countdown timer on our bed to be able to be done. And by the time that we actually respawn, the saddle probably despawned. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna go check. Then I realized that these bombs that were hitting the ground were starting to damage all the other creatures around it. This could be a chance for us to be able to get some juicy blood and hide. Well, that idea sounded good in my head, but I don't know how I was going to pull it off. When one of the Rexes died, the Karcher just ate its body anyway, so that plan didn't work. On the 33rd day of this adventure, well, we don't really have much options. We need to farm some more blood so we can get some more tranquilizers to eventually get our hands on another Mystic Rex, I guess. And with there not being very many Mystic Dinos on the map anymore, because we kind of killed most of them already, well, we're just gonna have to work with what we've got. Figured if I crafted up enough Apex darts, we'll still have enough to knock something out, even if we only have a little bit of Mystic Tranquilizers. So I also managed to tame one of these, an Apex Bulb Dog. And apparently we can give them one of these things and it should like give us some sort of buff. Well, that's what I thought would happen. It doesn't work because these are alpha augments and this is an apex creature. Turns out I'm going to need an alpha shoulder pet, not an apex one. Day 34, I put on some apex gear. It's much like the alpha gear, but it's apex. Yeah. And finally, a Mystic Rex spawned in that was a decent enough level for us to attempt to tame. Unfortunately though, it was really close to that Karcher that killed us earlier, so hopefully this all goes well. That Karcher over there is not making me feel good. And one thing I did forget is that in Ascended, the pathing on these dinosaurs is actually pretty good. This thing was on the hunt to chew on my butt. Come on then, buddy. Yeah, you think I'm going down, but I tricked you. It's still kind of stupid. Have you ever had those moments where this happens? Whoa, shit! You scared the bejeebers out of me. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Now, as an OG Ark veteran, I do know that I should probably build a trap for some of these tames. I just get kind of lazy. Shit! Ouch. Luckily, I was wearing my armor at that point. Otherwise, I probably would have died. I'm pretty sure I can outrun you. I should have built a trap. Yeah, I know. Definitely should have built that trap. But that's okay, though. The second best thing happened right now. Yes, fight the bisons. They will keep you busy, my friend. Who needs a trap when you have a Mystic Rex distracted by some buffaloes? Unfortunately, when it started to run away, it started heading in the same direction as that Karcher from earlier, which could really cause us some trouble. I jumped on my PT to try and get an idea of where everything was. Let him run a bit more. No, you're in the worst possible place. I was hoping I could bite it on the butt and make it chase me. It in fact did not chase me. So it was right here I decided to do something a little bit more risky. I got to get the attention of the Karcher and move that away. Hi Karcher, yeah. Yes, follow me Karcher. Oh, you don't want none of this, Mr. Karcher. And this plan worked great. We managed to get the Karcher away, return back to the Mystic Rex, and put that bad boy to sleep. You down? Eat that, quick. Yes. We had just successfully tamed our second Mystic Rex. Boom, baby! But the only one that's still alive. But unfortunately, we can't ride it just yet because we don't have enough hide or enough metal to be able to make a saddle for it just yet. Mystic Rexes do drop a lot of blood, and this is a low level, so it's not a bad idea to kill it. Also wanted to test out to see if a fairy would give us a lot of blood and hide. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. And we do need it anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's now day 35, and I've now learned my lesson from the last time we tamed a Mystic Rex. So before we do anything else, we're going to tame a second Mystic Rex and start breeding them. This is kind of messed up though. This male Rex seems to already have a lovely partner, and I'm about to drug it, put it to sleep, stuff it in a tiny little ball, and bring it back to another woman. Who knows, this Rex might not be happy in its current relationship. It might be better off. I guess we'll never know. Either way, we managed to get our hands on it. And they look happy, right? Right? Hey, they're making eggs, so they're doing something right. Also, the mod developer just dropped a new update, which means we can now craft this eternal mortar and pestle, which works like a normal mortar and pestle, but like way faster. This mod is quite new, so they're updating it quite frequently. So there's probably a whole bunch of new changes even since I started recording this video. Day 36, I stocked up on a whole bunch of cementing paste. I had considered trying to get myself an Achatina to start passively producing cementing paste, but I don't really think we need it in this playthrough. It's a lot of effort to be able to try and get veggie cakes anyway. But I'd like to introduce you to the cutest, ugliest Mystic Rex you'll ever see. I then went and gathered a whole bunch of crystal as well. I needed a whole bunch so I could make some renovations to our base. I wanted to make a sunroof and let some light into this base. It's always satisfying putting in the final roof. This is coming together quite nice. I like this base. Day 37, we managed to scrape together a few resources so we can make a Mystic Rex saddle. But I think my goal right now is to start moving up through the tiers quickly. And the very next tier of dino that we need to try and get our hands on is the Eclipse tier. And of course, to be able to start knocking them out, we need some hide and some blood. So this level 100 Eclipse Baryonyx needs to die. I power up our Mystic Rex, charge in for battle, and start biting. We were in the water in the Baryonyx's favorite territory, and the Rex doesn't really swim very well with its tiny little arms. So we have to bring it up to the shore, and it's here that we can finally finish it off. I then went for a little stroll into the desert, and it was here I found that this is where all the tough dinos are, like this Destroyer Raptor. I don't know if it's super tough, but its health points make it look tough, and it's called Destroyer. Surely it's tough, right? Can't be that tough. We absolutely destroyed the Destroyer. Oh, yeah, that's a different story. I think we're gonna head in a different direction. We already remember what happened the last time we faced that guy. But then I found an Eclipse Rex near the green obby. I went to go fight it, but as we were fighting it, I was getting damaged off the back of my Rex. I did not want to die. The Eclipse Rex's AoE ability does damage over time whilst I'm riding up the back. So, of course, I died. This kind of sucks. To try and help us avoid dying another time, well, I made some Mystic Armor. Yellow certainly isn't really my color, but hey, it should protect me, so I guess that's valuable. Now to return to my Rex and hopefully it doesn't die. I forgot all about our Apex Bulldog, but our Mystic Rex is doing some damage. And it killed the Eclipse Rex. You, my guy, are a goat. Day 38, we went to go and hunt down this other Eclipse Rex. But this time, I'm using a different strategy to fight this battle. I have a couple baby Mystic Rexes that have grown up, and we're just going to sacrifice them to this Eclipse Rex. I mean, they could win this fight, and they should. They are a little banged up, so I don't know. And I guess I'm glad I'm not inside that big red ball. Our Mystic Rexes were doing some damage. They killed the Apex Reaper that was there, then killed the Eclipse Rex. My two sacrifices were not going down, and they came home with the goods. This was either stupid or, I mean, it was just straight stupid. I went in to go and fight this Rex head on, but hopefully my armor was going to help us hold out. I don't know. And it did. We managed to defeat this Eclipse Rex without sustaining any damage to ourselves. Now that we're moving up in the world, we need to make another addition to our base. Something that's quite important. Upgrading to the Advanced Eternal Chaos Forge. Are you massive or are you not massive? Ah, you're not massive. I love it. A nice refreshing surprise. It fits in nicely into our base. Not only does it smelt metal so much quicker than the previous forge, but we can also make metals of higher tiers. Day 39, I started unlocking a bunch of the Eclipse engrams and then began crafting some Eclipse narcotics. I went to check to see what Eclipse dinos were on the map currently, just to see if there was anything worth taming. And honestly, most of the things were quite low level, so there wasn't really anything. So it looks like we're just gonna have to rely on our Mystic Rex for now. We had been able to collect a whole bunch of hide so we could upgrade our Rex saddle. And the reason we have so much hide, well, this is why. Yeah, we've been sacrificing babies and collecting their body parts. I needed to level up my character so I could get eclipse tranks. I currently couldn't make them. I figured one way to be able to get some good experience was to come down to the wyvern trench and kill some wyverns. Now, this would be a good way if we could manage to kill them easily, but because they fly so high, we could only get them to come down to us, and we could only get one at a time. This was just going to be too long of a process. So instead, I just started roaming around areas that I know I could get around and try and avoid some of the big scary dinos. This wasn't super effective at all, so I tried a new strategy of just hunting down high-level Rexes. They tend to give a lot of experience, but even doing this was turning out to be quite slow. That's when I had another idea. Well, we have a whole bunch of baby Rexes, and if I place them in the terminal and delete them, well, we should gain experience points for doing that. And then it gave me 12 levels there. See, that's how you do it, bro. Just kill your babies. Slightly sadistic, but it works. There we go. That's what we were trying to do. Eclipse strength. We were now level 98, and we're moving up in this world. With that being said, it's now time to try and tame ourselves an Eclipse Rex. And hopefully not get blown up in the process. We managed to find a nice safe ledge that we could shoot down from, and it's up here that we're definitely safe from getting hit by anything. I think. These Eclipse strengths were quite effective. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell are you trying to knock out a level 15? Well, the answer's quite simple. We just want to try and get an Eclipse blood farm. Doesn't matter what level they are, if we can breed them, we can kill them, and we can get some more. Once we attain this Eclipse Rex, well, I think its friend wasn't too happy. Shit, run. Damn it. Day 41, and we're patiently waiting for some meat to spoil so we can make some more tranks. We also need to stock up on some narco berries, so we're out and about doing exactly that. Oh, and that Eclipse Rex that killed us earlier, well, it was a female, so we tamed it. I just kind of forgot to record that part because I forgot to press the button. It happens, my bad. I figured it might make our lives a little bit easier if we start growing our very own narco berries, instead of having to go farm them regularly. This should help us out a little bit. It looks like we're going to need a lot of tranks to start knocking out some of these higher tier creatures. Next, I crafted up some apex kibble. Seems like a strange thing to craft up, right? Since we're already so much further ahead. Well, I wanted to try and tame myself an apex Anki. I don't need something of a high tier, just something like this that has a decent weight and some decent defense. Since this mod requires you to have a whole bunch of metal for all the different types of modded metal, well, we're going to need to farm up a whole bunch of it. And this Apex Anki will definitely help us get there. Now, Nugs on our server had created a teleport to a metal cave. And once we turned the fog off, we could see a little bit better, but we could also be able to farm up a crazy amount of metal. I wasn't leaving here until our inventory was completely full, which means we stayed there for a whole lot of time that it's already the next day. But look at that. We are stacked. This is for sure a much more efficient way to farm some metal. We have now finally hit level 100, so we could unlock a bunch of high tier engrams, which includes the ability to be able to summon in our very first boss. But that's gonna have to wait because we are clearly not ready to fight no bosses right now. And to celebrate, well, we murdered our level 22 Eclipse Rex. It's okay, it's weak, it won't know any better, but its sacrifice was well worth it. Look at all that blood and hide we got. Day 43, and yeah, look at all that metal. It's been cooking. Now that we have a whole bunch of metal, well, I'm gonna have to turn it into Eclipse metal. And to do so, we're going to need a lot of blood. This is a much easier way to be able to collect some blood than going out into the wild and trying to find the dinos, kill them, collect the blood that way. It's just easier to farm it yourself at home. And now we don't have to worry about any Eclipse items. We can just craft them with ease. We got an Eclipse Rex saddle, a cute Eclipse Rex. Now I'm going to go out and level it up. I managed to tame a little bit of a higher level one earlier. Again, I forgot to record. So now we have something that we can go out and use to actually fight dinos. And as you guys might have remembered, the Eclipse dinos have an AoE ability. So yes, we could destroy a bunch of creatures all at once just by dropping some meteors on their head. But then I thought to myself, let's see if we can increase that power just a little bit more. And to do so, I want to tame myself this alpha featherlight. This particular featherlight started flying a little bit too high for our liking. Thankfully, there's a whole lot others on the map, so we'll go somewhere else and find something else, which is exactly what we did on day 44. We found two of these prehistoric parrots right next to each other. And because they didn't fly up too high into the sky, I was able to passively feed them and tame them. And now we got a breeding pair. There was another one here too, so I fed it and we got 3. I then brought them back to base, and now we could breed them all together. So apparently all I need to do is feed them these rune things. I fed one of the runes to our featherlight, and apparently it should give it some sort of buff. And the ones that we had given the runes to, they got a speed boost. I don't know if that's too valuable to us right now. But then once we fed this one its rune, well, we ran into a problem. Bro, we crashed the server. I didn't realize at the time that it was because we fed it the rune, but apparently this is some sort of bug, but after speaking to the devs, I'm pretty sure it's fixed now. Day 45, we got rid of this augmented alpha featherlight. I don't really think we need it. It's not really doing much for us. And then we went out to the wilds to try and hunt down the next tier of dino, the void tier. There was nothing on the map currently that we could grab to tame, so we're just going to have to get some of the blood and hide the good old-fashioned way. This week, Void Spino was our very first victim. It really stood no chance against my Eclipse Rex. Easy. Surprisingly, we got some Void Shards as well. And not too far away, there was another Void Spino we could hunt down. This time, only a level 50, so it wasn't too much trouble for us to take down. Now, I realized that the modded tools give us a lot more blood and hide, so instead of eating it with my Rex, well, I chopped it up with my tools. Oh, yeah, baby. This gave us enough blood to be able to start crafting up some void narcotics and make some void steel ingots as well. I went to check on my preserving bins and they weren't really crafting up jerky that fast at all. So to multiply the effect, well, we just make more preserving bins. It's that simple. It was now important for me to make the jerky as we need it for void kibble. And we could now go and tame this void Rex. Yep, that's a void Rex. As in avoid him at all costs. Unless taming, because that's kind of the point of this. Oh, and don't miss your shots. That's probably a good bit of advice. Nope, you're going to do your big special attack, and I'm going to die. Or are you? Ooh. You're down, buddy. Down, buddy. We got our hands on one Void Rex, now to try and find a partner. This level 145 should do the job nicely, but it looked a little bit busy at this moment, so I think we're gonna have to wait. I managed to return on day 46, and this is where we began the taming process. I wasn't too sure what to expect or if I should get too close because it might AoE my butt, so I just made sure to keep my distance as I attempted to knock this big girl out. She wasn't too happy about being forcefully drugged. I don't blame her. I don't really enjoy it myself. But she's gonna have to deal with it because I'm fast. She begins to run away like a thief in the night, but cannot avoid my deadly trank darts. One more. There we go. Good night. I don't have to worry about getting another high level Void Rex because we can just breed the stats into the babies, and all the bad stat babies, we can grow them up and turn them into hide and blood. It's kind of crazy how they call Grand Theft Auto a bad influencing game, when in this game, you seriously do some messed up stuff. I just spent the rest of this day staring at these gates. I didn't really want to stare at two purple Rexes making love. Day 47, and we have a few of these Void Rexes fully grown up. Unfortunately for them, they don't have good stats. So, yeah, goodbye. It's okay, their sacrifice will be worth it. Not for them though, but definitely for me. I'm kind of rushing through it right now, but I didn't want to stay around on the Void tier for too long. After all, running around on the back of a Barney looking T-Rex, it wasn't really my thing. Plus, the next tier of dino sounds exciting. It's called the Chaos tier, and that's the dino I want to try and get my hands on. First, obviously, I need to level up this Void Rex a little bit and try not to die myself. Now, to help us avoid death, I crafted up some health potions. Yes, there's health potions in this mod. I just haven't really been using them that much until now. And depending on which one you use, they are actually quite effective. So with that being said, we grab our Void Rex and go out to fight this Chaos Rex. It's only a level 25, so we should be able to take it down and gather some blood and hide to make some more tranks. Day 48, and we faced off against another Chaos Rex. And yes, it was a low level, so taking it down wasn't too difficult at all. This time I managed to harvest it with our pickaxe. It helped a lot. But somehow I got encumbered, and I didn't know what was going on. There was these Chaos Shards. Apparently they're really heavy. I don't know what we use them for just yet, but there's a lot of them. With all that blood gathered, it's back to the same old routine. Craft up some narcotics, make a bunch of the modded steel ingots, and eventually make some trank darts. Then the next step is to tame one of these beasts. 478k torpor? Yeah, this isn't going to be easy, unless these Chaos trank darts do a lot of torpor damage. Okay, this might take a while. And a while it surely did take. Like, we're doing a ton of torpor damage, but this guy didn't want me to wear clothes. Oh, crap! Run, run, run! He broke my armor. He just made me naked. I feel violated. My man just violating me. I mean, it's fair game, right? We put her to sleep and then make her breed. That's probably worse. Now, before going to tame a friend for the Chaos Rex we just tamed, we need to get some more blood so we can get some more narcotics and to be able to make the kibble. Now, I had planned on harvesting these Chaos Dire Bears with my tools, but my Rex had other plans. No, you were not supposed to do that. Day 49, and yes, obviously we're looking for a Chaos Rex, but unfortunately there's only one single one on the map. But then fortunately it is a male and it's a decent-ish enough level for us to be able to tame. Okay, I only have 13 tranks for this one, so it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, we're kind of poor on the Chaos Trank situation, but hopefully we're gonna have everything we can to be able to knock it out. Yes, you just go and eat things. All good. stay distracted. And this tame was just turning out to be a typical tame. Pretty textbook. Until this happened. Oh no! My master's not working very well, but I only have 5 trank darts remaining, and I died. It's now day 50, and we're heading back with our tail between our legs. We died to something. I don't even think we died to the Chaos Rex. Either way, we were able to knock this Rex out, feed it some kibble, and tame it. You may have also noticed that we had upgraded our armor a little bit. We're rocking some pretty sweet orange armor. Anyways, I healed up my Chaos Rex and had a look at its health points, and damn, 750k health, no levels. Yes, our Chaos Rex does seem like a bit of a jump up, even though it's a lower level. Not bad, but for right now, there's not really much we can do. We just have to sit here and wait, all up until these babies fully grow up. Oh hey, look at that. The very next day, one of our babies is fully grown up, but its blood is more valuable to us right now. Psych, that was one of the parents that we don't need, so we have the baby right here that we're going to use to be able to ride around on. Alright, time to test this baby out. Now, this should be like the last tier before we have to like fight bosses and stuff. I was wrong. This is the exact tier you need to start fighting some bosses. And oh yeah, my guy hits really damn hard. Alright, AoE attack. Yo, you wreck, son. And all of that chaos we just completed was done with no levels in our dino. Imagine what's going to happen when it's max level. Holy shit, what was that? Scared the bejeebers out of me. Yeah, so that was kind of scary. Just when I thought we were the most dominant creature on this map, we find antimatter griffins. They do a ton of damage. Thankfully, we are quite strong. But their special ability hits pretty damn hard. They can also power up as well, which makes them a force to be reckoned with. My Rex's health was depleting rather quickly, but so was the Griffin's. Yeah, buddy. And it died. All right, I'm gonna harvest your body now. We got lots of stuff. Antimatter blood, antimatter hide. Very nice. Day 52, we take our Rex out for a little bit of a run, specifically looking for destroyer dinos, which we need to kill so we can collect their hearts, because we need 10 destroyer hearts to be able to summon in the boss. This one right here, the tier 1 end boss. We do need a bunch of dino blood as well, but we've done enough breeding that it shouldn't be too much of an issue to be able to get our hands on blood. Day 53, we cook up a whole bunch of chaos metal so that we could upgrade one of our saddles. But also to upgrade it enough, we're going to need to sacrifice some more babies. I had also made a full set of chaos armor that we went and upgraded as well. If we're going to be fighting some bosses, we're going to need as much defense as possible. We're going to have to bring an entire army as well. We have a bunch of these void rexes that we could probably throw into the fight just to help us out, that we're going to need to level up. And if you know anything about leveling up dinos, you can know that this is a very long and tedious process. Not only do they have to level up, but they also have to heal up as well, which can also take some time, which is why we're just standing here waiting for them to heal. Yeah. Day 54, and before we start setting up for this battle, I need to start clearing out our battlefield. I like this big open space right next to the green obby, as we'll have a place we can teleport to quite easily, and obviously it's just big and open, so we should be able to observe the fight properly. We have quite the modest army. Nothing too big or crazy, but we need to get stuck into these fights. This boss isn't the only one we need to fight, so let this fight begin. Ooh, here we go. The very first boss is the Destroyer Broodmother. And Destroyer it definitely is. Like, it was doing tons of damage to my army, and we had barely done any damage to it. Oh, we need more Rexes. I'm gonna go get some. Get out of my way. I had thought I was prepared enough. Obviously not. Our army was too small. We had a few more in our pocket, so we sent them into battle. But as they charged in, I realized something terrible. My PT! No, 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 no! I was certainly not prepared for this fight at all, but I am determined to defeat this boss at all costs. Within no time flat, our entire army was defeated, even all of the backups that I sent in, and we had only done a tiny bit of damage to this boss. So with that being said, I had to teleport back to base and rethink my strategy. All I could think of was to try and make an even bigger army, but try and return back to the Broodmother before it despawns. All of these Rexes had freshly grown up, so we're gonna have to level them up at the same time. I couldn't possibly return without having fully leveled dinos, and also ensure that they're fully healed up, which is a little bit of a time sink. Like, we just had to sit here AFK and watch this health bar rise. Day 55, I built an industrial grill. We got a little bit of time to kill while our dinos heal up still, so we did this. Might as well. And boy, this cooks up meat rather quickly. But ultimately, that's not important. We need to get back to this boss fight and get stuck into it. With my new army now prepared, hopefully we could do some more damage and defeat it. I send them all in, they start fighting, and we're doing our best to survive, I guess. My Chaos Rex's ability does come in clutch and help out quite a bit, but then my army was falling quickly. There's a lot of green numbers on the screen, so I guess we're doing a bit of damage, but then I could see all of my dinos start to get quite bloody and then start falling rapidly. And before too long, it was just me left. I need to escape and gather myself and try and figure out how I'm going to defeat this guy. I did have a couple more Rexes in my pocket, so I threw them out and sent them in. They're not super effective damage-wise, but they do make a good meat shield for me. Look, this strategy is kind of working. As long as we keep chipping away at its health like this, we should be able to defeat it. I'm going to try and 1v1 it. Do my best, I guess. But once again, it got to a point where I needed to escape quickly and head back to base to try and restock my army. Hopefully some more babies have grown up. It's day 56 and we're back in this fight. All I'm hoping is that this boss doesn't despawn and then we have to start all over again. But this fight is certainly taking quite a while. And you might also notice some red numbers there. My boy Flurry is running around on foot throwing spears and stuff at it. Then he whips out the shotgun, keeps him busy while I get my army ready. I mean, when it takes this long to fight a boss, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? I'm pretty sure that this is a really bad strategy, but hey, it's working, so we're just gonna stick to it for now. If you guys have any better ideas on how I could have defeated this boss, please comment below. I was really stressed at this point in time and I didn't know what to do. I knew I was running out of time, so I just did whatever I could possibly think of. But sure enough, our army all died off again, and we're back at base just trying to get another army together. We're getting so desperate now that we're getting a ton of our Void Rexes out, and I know that they're not going to be super effective at all. I even threw in an Eclipse Rex here and there. The hardest part was having to wait for these dinos to heal up so that they actually have enough health points to survive enough for us to be able to do some sort of damage. We are getting closer to defeating it though. Its health is getting lower, so that's all that kind of matters, I guess. But as we go on, our army gets weaker and weaker since they have barely any levels and they're only fresh grown up dinos, so it does get a little bit trickier. It's now day 58 and this spider has a slither of health left. We are on the home stretch. We have to defeat this thing now. I'm just gonna have to 1v1 it. It's all we have left. I do have enough potions to hopefully keep ourselves alive, but I have to keep moving to try and avoid the boss's big attack as it does a ton of damage. I do one of our big AoE moves, wait patiently for it to get burnt on fire, run into fight. Our health is very low, and then we finally defeat this boss. Oh my god, that was just way too close. Shout out to Flurry for the help, but it's time to head back to base. We had now unlocked a whole bunch of engrams from defeating that boss, which include a bunch of tech items as well as, I don't know, some other things to summon other bosses. And the next tier of kibble, so we can now go and tame some really strong creatures. Also, I didn't even realize until right now that my armor glows. That just made this chaos armor way cooler. Day 59, I whipped out my Alpha PT. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, but we lost our Mystic PT earlier because we accidentally sent it into fight. We came over to this Destroyer Rex. We need to kill it. Not only do we need some hearts, but we need its blood. And because destroyer creatures can't be tamed, we have to hunt them in the wild. That's the only way we can get our hands on the blood. Why do I need blood? Well, that's because we have now unlocked destroyer level trank darts. And these tranks are what we need to be able to tame the next tier of dino, the antimatter and the dark matter dinos. Now, the first dino I want to try and tame is a griffin, which is why we're setting up these metal gates so we can make a griffin trap. I have no idea if these griffins can break these gates, but we're going to try and tame them this way anyways. Usually I'll be riding my PT to get their attention and kite them into the trap, but I'm sure they would murder my PT in one hit. Now the hard part, try and get the attention of this antimatter griffin without dying. I think it's safe to say we got its attention, but now we got to try and get it into this trap. And doing this on foot is kind of tricky. I race over to the trap, try and get it in there, but the door wouldn't open quick enough. We got the door open, but the stupid griffin wouldn't get inside. Yeah, this is going to be way harder than I expected. Usually I'd use a dino to kite it in, but because the antimatter griffin has that freezing attack, I knew it was going to be a lot harder, so it'd just be better to do it on foot without having to risk losing a dino. I was failing miserably trying to tame this griffin. I managed to get a few shots off on it, but then its friend came past and wanted to get tamed. Or kill me. I don't know. Same thing. I figured I'd try and draw my attention onto this thing, which now that I think about it is kind of a silly move since we don't have unlimited tranks. I then wanted to try out a different strat, the good old crossbow and grapple strategy. I mean, I could stay attached to its butt, shoot it, but when it did this move, well, we lost the grapple.
That could have worked. It didn't, but it could have.
Day 60, I got my inner cultist out and sacrificed these beasts for the betterment of ourselves. Look, I really wanted to upgrade my armor. We kept getting roasted by these freaking griffins, and I just needed stronger armor. I had also discovered a much better and more efficient way to create some of this meat jerky. The Cyberstructure's industrial grill, well, it can craft it. Now, since we failed attempting to tame that last antimatter griffin, I went out to go and try and find another one. Something a little bit lower level. Something like this level 15. where I kind of think we won't need a trap for it to be able to knock it out. And because it only had low torpor, means we don't need as many trank darts to be able to knock it out. But there was one consideration I forgot to take into place. Once its torpor gets down quite a bit, it begins to run away. You little bitch. So this is where we need to get a little bit creative. We're on the top of a hill now. I have the high ground, so maybe I can make a shot from a distance. I could not make the shot. It did not work. So I need to get a little bit closer by jumping and parachuting. But since we're constantly moving, this shot needs to be worth it. We might go too far. It froze me before I could do anything, so I attempted this again. Tried to get the shot off before it would freeze me. And we got a hit off. But is it enough to be able to knock it out? Not quite. But it did manage to fly low enough and close enough for us to be able to get it. And just like that, we have now tamed our very first antimatter griffin. And its stats are low-key kind of good. Even for a very low level dino like this is great. We can work with it. Now the question is, how much damage does it do? Yeah, I think that'll do. That'll do nicely. You can even power this beast up and it'll change its form. This is quite a nifty thing to this mod. And its power increases exponentially. Now, the best thing about the griffins in this game is the ability to be able to shoot guns off the back of them, giving us a real chance of being able to tame a higher level griffin. But the fact that it freezes like this, it's going to make things quite hard. And I'm not confident enough that we're going to have enough trank darts. But since we have a powerhouse that can fly, it's going to make farming destroyer dinos a lot quicker. Now that we don't have to teleport all over the place, fly, change dinos, all those kind of things. Day 61, I went to see if there was any dark matter dinos on the map. And there was literally only one, a dark matter Spino. And I don't really want one of them. Then I checked antimatter, and there was only 4 dinos. I was kind of hoping to get my hands on a Rex. We're just gonna have to wait, I guess. Or to try and help some more spawn in, we just go and kill a bunch of dinos. Specifically Rexes, since if we can destroy one of them, maybe an antimatter or dark matter Rex will spawn in replacement. It feels kind of racist, but I was only targeting Rexes. I want to try and get myself a really strong dino to face the next boss. Anyways, this is pretty much all we did all day. Hunted down every Rex on the map in hopes that we'll get an antimatter or dark matter Rex to spawn in. Day 62, I crafted up a whole bunch of trank darts, since we've been saving the resources for these exact moments. I then went ahead and crafted up a bunch of these mystic trank arrows as well. They seem to be the best bang for buck and could help us out if we get in a sticky situation. Even though they don't do too much torpor, you can craft a crazy amount of them and they could help you out if you need them. But we're not going to use them just yet. What we're doing right now is killing some more Rexes, but not just Rexes today. Griffins. We need to get our griffin a mate before it dies, and we can't breed up an army of them. But you may have noticed, we did find an antimatter Rex on the map. Level 100. Now, it's not the greatest level as possible, but 100 is kind of the baseline that I would start taming something. Beggars can't be choosers, and I need something now. All right, we're trying to tame this antimatter Rex. It's a pretty shitty level, but they don't really spawn too well on this map. Anyways, let's go through the whole process of trying to knock this thing out while riding our griffin. And we're almost there. Final little shot. As long as we land it, we should be able to put this bad boy to sleep. We successfully knocked it out. Now all we have to do is feed it its desired kibble, and we now own our very own antimatter Rex. I do not currently own a saddle for this Rex, so for the meantime, I'm gonna go kill some more of these griffins. I do need to kill this antimatter griffin so I can get some more hide to make the Rex saddle. Griffin's a bug. He ain't doing nothing. Don't be running away, little bitch. Come back. Don't freeze me. Day 63, I whip up a fresh new set of armor. But before we wear this armor, well, I want to try and hunt down some unstable creatures. There's only 2 on the map though, so that might be kind of an issue. Now, unstable dinos are also not tameable, but they do drop vital resources for us to be able to progress. I'm not too sure if we're able to defeat this thing so... Oh wait, no, we killed it quick. We killed it quick, that was really easy. Our antimatter griffin is kind of OP. Anyways, this is what they drop. An unstable heart and unstable absolute dust, which we need to be able to summon in the next boss. But I also need this absolute terminal to be able to summon them in, which of course requires some more destroyer hearts. So yeah, you know exactly what we need to do. Our antimatter griffin makes this so much quicker and easier too. But when it comes to harvesting these guys for their blood, well, my antimatter griffin kind of gets in the way. No, you stupid bird. I hate you. You don't collect as much as I do. You're dumb. Anyways, we now have our fresh drip on. Oh shoot, look at that. Look at that fancy boy. We had also managed to make the absolute terminal as well. This allows us to summon in the next tier of bosses. And to summon some of these bosses in, we're going to need to farm a whole bunch of tributes. Mainly blood, some hearts, some shards, you know, typical occultist stuff. Day 64, and we're just setting up for this next boss fight, leveling up all of our army of dinos. Currently, I'm only using Chaos Rexes because we got a whole lot of them. I might get some Antimatter Rexes later, but they're just so hard to find on the map since they don't really spawn that often. And considering the last boss that we fought was so damn tough, I'm expecting this next boss to be even tougher. So we're going to be patient, make sure all of these dinos are leveled and healed. We then discovered another Antimatter Rex on the map, this level 140. This will be a game changer if we can manage to tame it. I really want to try and tame this high level Antimatter Rex with no problems. Oh crap, that is not what we wanted. That was certainly a scary encounter, but we push on. This process does take a little while. It has a lot of torpor, and we're not dealing a lot of torpor damage. And getting frozen in place can be quite the issue. No, my griffin! Asshole. You are an asshole. That really sucks. I only had one griffin and it took us ages to get that simple one. I'm now determined as ever to tame this thing. It's gonna become my slave since it murdered my best pet. Running around on foot in this area can be kind of intense. There's a lot of other dinos that want to eat my butt, and this antimatter's abilities will kind of get in the way. Oh, you coming for me now? Nah, you ain't, because you a bitch. Being frozen ain't gonna stop me, though. We're putting this bad boy to sleep and enslaving it for good. I mean, it'll become our friend. Like, we're gonna be friendly. Sure, I guess. This is that Antimatter Rex, and I decided I'm gonna give it a name. We're gonna give it the good old Australian name, Jono. Everyone say, "G'day, Jono," and let's see if Jono is strong or not. Oh yeah, if you're one biting a buffalo on the butt, then you're surely pretty strong. How about a pack of Brontos? Bro, I just froze you. I didn't even get to like do anything yet. Day 66, and I was getting kind of carried away, having way too much fun on this Rex. Like if anything stood in my way, they would surely die. But it's probably a good idea that we start locking in. I crafted up a bunch of these high tier potions and then hunted down some dinos so I could harvest them for their resources. I don't remember exactly why, but I went AFK for quite a while during this day. It basically took up the entire day. Day 67, we took a dip into the ocean. I needed to collect a whole bunch of oil. We needed to get some more jerky going, and we weren't getting enough oil from our local oil deposits. This was only a quick trip though, because we needed to get back to work. And to be fair, we got more than enough oil than we're gonna need. I then managed to craft the Absolute Chaos Summoning Token, which means we can now summon in the very next boss, the Absolute Chaos boss, obviously. Our army was pretty much ready to go. We made sure this time to come with a whole bunch more dinos than we'd ever had previously. It's a griffin, which means it flies, which means this boss fight could be even more difficult than I'd hoped. I sent in my first wave of dinos. They started biting down on this big bird. I dropped my mega attack. Wait, did we just kill it that easy? And yeah, we killed it that easy. Well then. I kind of thought since the Broodmother was such a tough boss fight that this fight was going to be even tougher. That was oddly extremely easy. Or maybe my Antimatter Rex is just that strong. Anyways, we could now craft this, the Absolute Chaos Core, and just wait till you find out what it does. It's pretty cool. If I feed it to this Chaos Rex, well, something magical happens. What do you do? Give this... Oh my god. Absolute Chaos Rex. I ain't gonna lie, my guy. You're pretty cool looking. Day 68, I went out to the green obby because I'm going to go fight something. Now, you would think I'd take my Absolute Chaos Rex, but I didn't have a saddle for it yet. I needed some more Absolute Chaos Dust. Then when I summoned this boss in, I was greeted by a rude surprise. Yeah, so it's a dragon. Last time it was a griffin, and the fight was a lot easier than it is right now. This was quite the shock. I'm glad I brought some potions with me, and we could hold it off for quite a bit, but we had to wait for the cooldown so we could launch our big attack again. That was the only way that we're doing mass amounts of damage. I learned that the best strategy was to run away until our cooldown was done, and when I did, I saw some other Chaos Rexes that were left behind from previous battles. So I sent them in to keep our dragon busy. Then once our cooldown was done, we could run back in and launch our attack. This strat was quite effective, and we're able to defeat this dragon. I also learned that trying to harvest the body, well, it crashes the server. Love lag. Oh. Anyways, we're back with broken armor, but enough resources to be able to make an Absolute Chaos Rex saddle. I have a feeling we're going to get quite close to this Absolute Chaos Rex, so I decided to name him. Let me introduce you to the Chaos Rex called Timmy. All right, Timmy, let's find out if you're any good or not. Okay. Yeah, my man's good. Timmy is in fact quite the upgrade, but since I can't breed Timmy, I want to keep him back when I have to do some risky fights, like fighting this unstable Rex. Since none of these spawn on the map very much, I need to take every opportunity to try and kill them and gather their dust and hearts. Day 69, the funniest number of them all, I went out to tame this eclipse griffin. Since we had lost our previous antimatter griffin, I want another one so we can tame some high-tier creatures. And of course, taming these things without a trap is kind of tricky, but if our aim is good, we managed to get it done. Psych, you probably thought we actually got that one, did you? We didn't. Instead, I used my PT, flew up just above it, dismounted, engaged my parachute, got my PT back in this ball, and managed to get it knocked out. This was some Mission Impossible Tom Cruise type stuff. Anyways, we managed to tame this eclipse griffin. You might be wondering why we didn't tame a higher tier one like the antimatter again. Well, because there was none on the map. Just is what it is. But what was on the map was a dark matter Rex. And if we managed to tame this Rex, well, I'll show you a really cool mechanic. Except I started to realize something when I was trying to tame this one. See, it already had some torpor damage done to it, and I noticed that there was a trap set up nearby. That wasn't my trap. Turns out Flurry was already trying to tame this thing. So since we're a pretty friendly server, I just went on my way. It's not fair for me to try and take this over, especially since there's others on the map. But I kind of made a mistake. You see, I went AFK and turned off my recording and forgot to start recording again. And well, I'll let my in-game explain what happened. It killed my eclipse griffin, but I forgot to capture it on video. This guy right here, we got 400k torpor already, but I might have missed a recording. Look, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Mistakes happen. My bad. Now we're just running around naked trying to knock this big boy out. There's no point in me having armor right now because I'm surely going to die quickly, and the armor just keeps breaking and repairing it becomes expensive. Oh, we're dead now. We've been doing so good. I'd been shooting this Rex from a great distance, doing quite a bit of torpor damage. Right. It was distracted by all the other creatures that were around. But then it finally got a taste for my blood and wanted me. Get in here, get in here. Oh, shoot. Not exactly how I expected to go down, but we'll take it, whatever, then. Day 70, we returned, but this time I brought some armor. I figured it might protect me from all the other creatures, like that Kano that killed me. Anyways, we managed to get this dark matter Rex on the run. It does not like getting shot in the bum, but this is really, really fun. Yeah, that was bad. Anyways, yeah, we knocked it out. I didn't have any kibble with me currently, so I had to run back to base, pick some up, return, and make this boy mine. Oh, girl. Sorry, it's a girl. My bad. Anyways, let me show off this nifty little thing that you can do with a dark matter Rex and an antimatter Rex. If you place two of these beauties right next to each other, and then you press one of the buttons on your keyboard, a funky animation will start occurring. Yeah, and he might poop as well. Probably nervous poops for what's about to happen. Bang! Voila! We now have an Omni Rex. They just fused together, kind of like Goku and Vegeta type styles. This was exciting and all, but then we still need a saddle before we can ride it, and we're a little bit low on dark matter ingredients. The other thing was, there wasn't many on the map. We managed to find this Allosaurus at this very moment, and I was able to harvest it for a bunch of its hide and blood. Hopefully it's enough for us to be able to make a saddle. And after we turned some of that blood into steel ingots, we did have enough to make the Omni Rex saddle. Yeah, boy. Now the question is, how much stronger is this compared to its counterparts? And honestly, I think the Absolute Chaos Rex is a lot stronger. Like, don't get me wrong, it does do a ton of damage, and it is pretty good, but it feels weird to be able to get this so late compared to the Absolute Chaos Rex. Like, what's the point? Anyways, we gave it a name, and it only makes sense to call it Super Jono. And Super Jono is a beast. Well, it looks pretty cool, I guess. Day 71, we're on the back of Super Jono, and we're hunting down creatures. Specifically, this Dark Matter Rex, so we can get some Dark Matter resources. Today was just a day for us to hunt down some dinos so we can get some tributes to summon in the next boss. Yes, there's more to go. Day 72, and we still need to farm a couple more of these unstable creatures. We've been farming for quite a while, but I think we do have enough to start preparing for this next boss fight, which means we must begin this long, tedious process of leveling up all of our dinos and waiting for them to fully heal up. Of course, we need to craft the token to be able to summon it in as well. It's now day 73 and time to summon in our very next boss. I brought out my Absolute Chaos Rex Timmy because he's stronger than our Omni Rex, and then I summoned in this tier 2 boss, the unstable manticore. I definitely do not love fighting flying bosses, and this particular boss was kind of acting weird. It kept flying down into the ground and like wouldn't really fight us back. I think when this one got summoned in, it bumped its head because it's acting really weird. What are you doing, bro? I think the manticore is broken. And just like ancient humans used to do, when you're acting a little bit weird and strange, they would eat your ass. Yeah, that's what they'll do. Definitely. That was unsettling to see, but necessary. I wanted to see something. I wanted to swap out my absolute Chaos Rex for my Omni Rex. And even though its bites are weaker, its big attack does a ton more damage, especially against these bosses. Anyways, our plan is to defeat this guy. Even though he's not fighting back, we just have to get rid of him because that's what we need to do. And like an African hunter, I needed to get a photo with my prey. But I couldn't enjoy it for too long. We still have 4 more bosses that we need to defeat, which will also require a bunch more of these destroyer and unstable hearts. So the grind continues. Day 74, I was able to craft up this obelisk looking thing. Place you right here. Oh, right, it's an actual obby. This is where we summon in the Null. It's like another boss. We need to fight it. Now, since this is the next tier of boss, surely it's going to be a lot more difficult than the last couple bosses that we fought. The Broodmother was extremely difficult, and then the other bosses after that were extremely easy. Now, even though I could summon it in right now, I wanted to prepare myself a little bit better, which will require me to get some more antimatter blood and hide. Because I'm going to go into this fight with my Omni Rex, I'm going to need to upgrade my Rex saddle. Now, the last little part of our preparation is crafting this Null summoning token. Day 75, and I was feeling kind of nervous. I had no idea what to expect with this kind of boss. Is it going to be an easy boss fight, or is it going to be a hard one? Either way, we're about to find out. We summon in this rather large green cat. Wait, what? He doesn't have a lot of health. Who suspiciously dies really quick. Wait, what the heck? Yeah, so that was quite underwhelming. See you later, Null. Anyways, moving on, we are going to summon in the tier 1 Broodmother boss again. I need one of the items that it drops so I can then further summon in the next boss. Oh, and I also need to kill the absolute chaos boss again. I brought an army this time because I wasn't sure if it was going to be a dragon, a griffin, or who knows, something else. But then it was time to summon in the Broodmother. And since we have this really strong Omni Rex, killing it was a little bit, well, a lot easier than it was last time. It still did kind of wreck my Rex army, but my Rex army was keeping it busy and it wasn't focusing on me. So every time that my cooldown would happen, I could just chillax. Then I could drop my purple bombs on it, kind of like a day in Mardi Gras, and defeat it. This then led us to being able to summon in the next boss, the Dark Sun boss. Day 76, and this is the day that we fight one of the final bosses of this mod. Alright, let's go Dark Sun Prime. Go me, lovelies! Fight! Bro, he's killed stuff already? So yeah, this boss is definitely a big wake-up call from the previous bosses we fought. It's a lot damn tougher. Bro, he's running! He's running! Get him! Get him! Uh-oh. No way we got a server shut down in 60 seconds. So, yeah, we had kind of technical difficulties and gonna have to deal with that real quick. And the server's down. And the server's down. That was quite inconvenient, but it's the reality of playing on a server, I guess. When I got back in, I thought that the boss was still there. I was wrong. There was a goddamn Karcher in the distance and it wanted to fight my army. But the Chaos Karcher's 4.6 million? Why didn't I tame that? Anyways, I went back to base to reset my stuff and have to think about how I'm going to do this boss fight again. Day 77, and I was pretty frustrated and kind of over it right now. So don't blame me for this, but I'm going to be honest, I cheat summoned this boss back in. And because I cheated, pure karma came through and it summoned inside my body and killed me. I then had to try and return as quick as possible and try and get my Super Johnny back. Got him. I could then regather myself and get back into this fight, but I had taken so long that the big gorilla had destroyed most of my army already. This boy was damn ruthless, and we could withstand most of his hits except for that move right here. When he throws the big rock and we get hit by it, he does a ton of damage. We just have to make sure to dodge it whenever we can. Our big bomb attack was the most effective, so I drop it, run away, wait for the cooldown to come into effect, heal myself up if I need to, then charge back in and do it again. This seemed to be somewhat the most effective strategy, other than the fact that it lagged my entire computer up. So we continued running around in circles, trying to avoid getting hit by that big rock attack. That one right there. Run away whenever I needed to. Like right now, I just wanted to recoup some stamina, because when we're in the powered up form, it drains a lot of stamina quite fast. So we power down for a little bit, take a little rest, power back up, and then get back into the fight with our big attack. So yes, whenever he does his throw attack, he also goes on a cooldown. So I know I haven't a chance to attack. We'd been pushing through and we had almost finished this guy off. Go, 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 no, no, no. This should do it. This should do it. This should do it. Can't see nothing. Almost there. Almost there. We did it. We did it. We did it. We killed the bastard. We have now defeated the big gorilla boss. And because we had defeated him, we actually get a summoning token. And we can get our very own tamed Dark Sun Prime. Our very own monkey. We got our very own majestic beast. Now, I bet you're curious, how strong is this monkey? And what kind of damage does the man do? Yep, quite a bit. 1 million per hit. Yeah, he's kind of crazy overpowered. I love it. We just stomped down on everything that we could come across. It was so great. But we still have more things to do, like fight the next boss, which we did on day 78. Let me introduce you to the next boss we must fight. It's a flyer, so this kind of sucks. But its name is Starbreaker. I think it breaks stars or something. I don't know. Either way, we have to kill it. Of course, my short-armed large lizard army couldn't help me. And they were just basically feeding Starbreaker. But I could use them as bait to keep Starbreaker busy while I use my big attacks. It's kind of the only way I can do any sort of damage. That was until they were all burnt to a crisp or sitting in Starbreaker's stomach. But fighting this flyer was turning out to be pretty tricky. I was determined to beat this guy. After all, it's the very last boss in this mod playthrough. I have to do it. Well, that was until we ran out of all of our good potions. The only ones we had left didn't heal us up enough to be able to stay in this fight. So I had to teleport quickly back to base and restock on some of these superior healing potions. It's really the only way we could survive in this fight. Then we could get back to work fighting Starbreaker. We've already done quite a bit of damage up until this point, so there's not too much left. But we are still at the risk of getting murdered ourselves. Yeah, stay there, stay there. Love it. Such an awkward place to fight this guy. Can't see nothing. Run away from me, you little bitch. Yeah, come in here. I know you didn't like that. I know you didn't like that because you're dead. That's why. DED dead, son. Stargazer is now ours. Upon defeating Stargazer, yes, we did get another summoning token. There we go. We got the summoning token. Which means we get our very own Starbreaker. Our very own dragon we can ride that does a ton of damage. Okay. You burn good. Oh, 2 million. 2 million's crazy. With Stargazer now being tamed, we have now completed this mod. There is really nothing else for us to do yet. I know this mod is still early and there's more that's going to come. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe button and I'll revisit it in the future. Until next time, peace.